Suspicious spikes in Michigan V registrations across the state occurred on the same day in 2020. According to far-left Michigan attorney Nessel, there was no serious fraud. TGP has been reporting on major V registration fraud. It was found and investigated by both the city of Muskegon, the Michigan State Police, that 2,500 fake registrations in one day, 8 to 10,000 submitted another day. Nessel admitted this was true. Nessel admitted it was true. And according to Dana Nessel and her media allies, they say this is proof that the system works for them, right? She says it was the fraud was caught and it was not added. But guys, this is just one county, okay? Muskegon locals claim that this was a lie and that fraudulent applications were accepted to the V rolls. Nessel could not refute the police reports because the Michigan State Police and Muskegon Police have stood strongly behind their separate investigations. But they will not allow the TGP to verify Muskegon selection integrity claims by examining the public records. The V registration applications, and they have no excuse why such an obvious fraud has resulted in 0 prosecutions in 3 years. Yet they claim the system has worked and prevented all the potential fraud. GBS Strategies received millions from left-wing campaigns and left-wing nonprofits financed by leftist billionaires. GBI owner Gary Bell bragged about being tied to over 70 prominent left-wing organizations. One of those entities shares office space with Michigan Democrats. This is Gary Bell, okay? Either GBI Strategies was an excellent operation for identifying unregistered voters, or they were engaged in serious systemic selection fraud for which no one has been criminally charged. They tried to bring it up, but what happened was Bill Barr stopped the investigation, okay? That's what happened. He didn't just stop the one in Pennsylvania, he stopped it here too. In the city of Muskegon, they nearly doubled the voter file by attempting to add 10 to 12,000 fraudulent registrations. For context, according to and by the way, this is a town with like 36,000 voters, so that's a lot, okay? For context, according to the 2021 qualified voter file, the QVF, there were 15,000 registered voters who lived in the city of Muskegon and voted, 9,378 of which did so by using an absentee ballot. So when GBI Strategies showed up to Muskegon City Clerk Ann Meisch with 2,500 voter registration applications in a day, and then tried to mail in and drop off another 8 to 10,000 applicants, it set off alarms because it was nearly doubling the voter file in the city. Meisch called the police, who investigated because the dump of registration was so obviously unrealistic. Yet the same suspicious spikes in voter registration applications by Clerk Meisch appear to have gone unnoticed elsewhere in Michigan. In fact, there are many jurisdictions around Michigan that have the same similar registration spikes. Oh, look at all that. Flint, Lansing, Southfield, Detroit, Taylor, Ypsilanti, Buchanan, Muskegon. Look at that. Same locations identified in the Muskegon and MSP police reports as being the work sites of GBI Strategies all have similar suspicious spikes, and they all happened on the same day in October. Across at least 8 separate Michigan jurisdictions, thousands of suspicious V registrations applications were dropped off on Friday, October 9, 2020, 11 days prior to the October 20th deadline to register for the 2020 selection. Here's a frequency histograph of V registrations by day in 2020 for the county of Muskegon, separate from the city of Muskegon, created by Chris Kajala of the Selection Integrity Force, EIF. There it is. There's that line right there. Oh, look at that big Bonner. Yeah. One can see that the county of Muskegon's normal daily average of 50 to 75 V registration applications are dwarfed by the 1,843 that show up on October 9th. Was this a coincidence that both the city of Muskegon and the county of Muskegon received major spikes in V registration applications in one day on uniquely October 9th? Not when you examine all the other cities where GBI Strategies was operating and compare it to the entire year of registrations. Look at that. Oh yeah, spike, 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 spike. Yeah. The spike showed that thousands of V registration applications all showed up on October 9th. We are posting this data to compile these graphs Here they have a link for more graphs. Look at that. If only one looks at October 2020, according to the 2021 QVF file, the same suspicious spikes appear in key jurisdictions where GBI Strategies was operating: Buchanan, Detroit, Flint, Lansing, Muskegon, Southfield, Taylor, Ypsilanti. We know these locations because of the Muskegon Police and Michigan State Police reports on their investigations mention these specific places. The major spike in V registrations was on October 9th of 2020 in all 8 jurisdictions known to be work locations for GBI Strategies in 2020. The registering fake voters in an alleged part of a scheme to cast fake ballots in the general election. The claim has been made multiple times, but direct evidence of it existing on a wide scale has been elusive for these investigating election fraud since the suspicious 2020. Chris Kajala ran for Muskegon County Commission in 2020. He says that his V registration scheme was critical to ensuring that he did not win the final swing vote in the commission. He says, in quotes, "I was winning with 65% of the in-person vote before the absentees flooded in. Absentees ended up being 52% of the total vote, and they were exactly the opposite of the in-person vote. 1,600 people voted 1,600 people who voted who never voted before. 1,600 people voted who never voted before, and I am confident I can show 500 of those were fraudulent, where I lost the election by 292. Kajala continued, after people vote, it's almost impossible to prove fraud through absentee. It's almost impossible to prove fraud though. Absentees are by far the easiest way to cheat and the vote because of the reduced accountability. In my race, I think it's clear that they cheated, but I've been working hard to prove it. I just want fair selections. It's clear groups like GBR are gaming the system for Democrats and they know no one will stop them." Kajala is a Muskegon County selection worker and volunteer in election data analysis for the Selection Integrity Force, the EIF, a nonpartisan group of selection integrity patriots. Meanwhile, extreme left Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is equating questioning selection integrity to being a violent act. She writes here, "As long as there are politicians willing to spread lies about accuracy and security of our selections, there will be threats to selection officials that follow. Thank you, the last word, for lying for us." Yeah, whatever's. Oh man, boy, Michigan's a mess, huh? Michigan and Pennsylvania, absolute mess. And that's what I'm telling you. We got to encourage everyone to leave those states so they lose electorate votes.